Hi.
Hi, how are you today?
How are you doing? Let me see, you came from...
Chelsea.
Chelsea.
All the way from Chelsea.
All the way from Chelsea, wow.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Good.
Hmm?
So, I have a question for you.
Okay, I have an answer, I guess.
Maybe.
We'll see.
Yeah. So, I've heard you speak in the past about this love that you felt from and for Neem Karoli Baba.
Mm-hmm.
Can you elaborate?
What else is there? Well, you know, it's kind of a thing that you don't know it exists till you kind of trip and fall in it. So it's one of those things. When I first met Ram Dass, I had a very powerful experience, which was simply that whatever I was looking for was real. You know, he had just come back from India after meeting Maharajji the first time. And then I met him and I walked in the room there and boom, without a word being spoken or even any eye contact, I just walked into the room and whoa, and I knew in my heart that this, whatever it was I was looking for was real, you know? And even the word real is interesting because, you know, what does that mean? In other words, I became aware that there was something in the world that was in some way different than anything I had experienced.
But was it in your heart? Was it in your mind?
Here or there?
Was it in your gut?
It was just there. All of a sudden, I understood. I felt it. I became aware of that. I don't know. Was it my physical heart? Was it my brain? Or my elbow? You know? No, nothing like that. It just, I went, oh. It was like an epiphany. I understood. Wow, this is real. There really is something to find in the world. That was a big thing because I was very depressed, very unhappy. Searching a little bit here and there, thought I was doing spiritual things, I was meditating, yoga, all that stuff. But I didn't really believe that there was, I mean, I hoped, but I didn't really understand there really was something to find. So that was a big thing. And that turned out to be my first experience of Maharajji's presence, so to speak.
Okay, through Ram Dass.
Through Ram Dass when I first met him.
And then how much time transpired until you met Neem Karoli Baba yourself?
I traveled around with Ram Dass for about a year and a half, hung out with him as much as I could for about a year and a half, and then spent 2 summers with him up in New Hampshire on his father's place, and then I just decided it was time to go. So I went, and then I met Maharajji then.
What was that like?
Well, it was interesting, because I was feeling him everywhere already. You know, I mean, I really felt him. I just felt him, like his presence. And then I met him, and it was like, wait a minute. What does that body have to do with everything I've been feeling in America before I met him? Right, you know? I mean, I was feeling him.
So it was inconsequential, his shape, his physical shape.
Well, it was kind of shocking, actually. It was like, whoa, it's like, of course, I immediately felt totally in love with the body because it was so radiantly beautiful and playful and funny and all that stuff, you know, charismatic. I was just, you know, so I totally forgot that other feeling and got attached to the body. But at the first experience was like a little shocking, really, you know, because everything was so familiar. India was so familiar. Going up into the mountains was so familiar. Going to the temple, it all seemed like it was in slow motion and just really deep. You know, it was interesting.
Do you think that you ever had a connection already to him?
Of course, yeah, absolutely. Now I understand things a little differently. I realize like been connected to him forever, you know.
So now that he's left the body, how is it different?
It's better. I don't have to listen to anybody. Nobody can tell me what to do. Nah. It was torture for years and years and years, really torture. It brought out all the worst parts of my stuff.
And was it a longing, like something that had to be filled that just wasn't being filled?
Exactly. It was a longing, and I felt I had lost the only thing that made me happy, that could ever make me happy, which was to be with him physically, right? So it took a long time to start doing what I had to do to find that inside of me, so to speak, although it's just a way of talking about it, to find it again, so to speak, to reconnect with that.
I've heard you say that he at one point told you to go, and you were like, go, like, how can I leave? What will I do? I don't want to leave you.
Yeah.
And what will I do?
Yeah.
And he told you, I'm sure I'm not saying the words right, but this is the gist that I remember, like, you're going to sing your songs.
No, it wasn't quite like that, actually, you know. It was the last time I would ever see him physically so far. I was having to leave that day to get the plane from Delhi. And I was thinking, what am I going to do in America? I've been walking around in a red dress in India for 2 years, stepping in cow poop. What am I going to do in America? I can't, you know. So I was sitting in front of him, and there was, you know, all kinds of, you know, people, you know, throwing fruit in all directions and talking, and all the Westerners were, you know, were there and everything. And I was just looking and thinking, like, what am I going to do in America? So I didn't want to have to ask. I felt that was like I was failing by asking. I had no faith, right, you know. But I finally just blurted out, Baba, how can I serve you in America? Which was very sneaky, because really I was saying, tell me what to do. And I was saying, no, I went, how do I serve you? And of course he knew that. And he looked like a bit of pickle. He goes, He goes, if you ask about service, then it's not service. He said, do what you want. So now, do what I want to do. I had been celibate for 2.5 years, and what I wanted to do is get laid. And I just looked it up, and I thought, and I was thinking, how does what I want to do is serving you? And he looked at me, so how will you serve me? Ah, and he laughed, you know.
Because he knew?
Of course he knew everything. He just laughed. He said, so how will you serve me? And he laughed. Ah. He said, do what you want. Do what you want. He told me to do what I wanted to do, which was interesting teaching. Because yes, I did want to get laid, but I also wanted to be in that love that I had found there with him. You know, so.
It was like a breakup, but like the most intense breakup.
On the physical plane, yes, but he wasn't just a physical being, and our connection was not just, it wasn't like I only felt him when I was with him physically, you know. I mean, I felt him a lot, all the time, you know. So, but now here I was going away, and so I remember I walked across the courtyard. Pretty much, my mind just stopped when he said, you know, so how will you serve me? And, you know. So then I bowed to him from across the courtyard for the last time, and I heard in my own voice, although it was not me saying it, but it was my voice, I heard myself say, I'll sing to you in America.
I don't have the paradigm for that.
It wasn't me saying, it wasn't like, oh yeah, I'll sing to you in America. I was just bowed down, saying goodbye, empty-minded, and I heard in my head, I'll sing to you in America. It wasn't me saying it. And I went, oh yeah, okay. And then I left. However, I figured I was just coming back for a few months, and then I would go back to India and be with him. But before I could get back, he left the body. So I did have a terrible time after that, because I had become very attached to his physical presence. Whereas before I met him, I wasn't. He was everywhere. It was all that love. Any time I could remember, which wasn't very often, because I was not such a happy camper, but still, it was there. And then it became attached to the body, and then the body wasn't there. And I had forgotten how to feel him without being with him physically, in a sense. And it felt like he was gone, that I lost the only thing that I ever could make me happy was gone. So what was it? What was the sense? So it was a terrible time for many years. Many, many years. And I didn't start singing to him for 21 years.
What?
Yeah. I sang a little bit here and there with people. We had a little weekly kirtan, but it wasn't real chanting. It was like rubbing salt in a wound. It was all very emotional. But in 1994, I had an epiphany in my room where I said, if I don't start singing to people, with people, not to people, but singing with people, I will never clean out the dark corners in my own heart. So I had to, because it was clear to me that that was the only way I could save myself, so to speak. And
So powerful.
yeah. So it took a little while, but I started doing that. And that's what I do still. That's still why I do what I do. There's no other reason. And this is all his blessing. So he sent me back.
He wanted you to find your way.
He wanted me to overcome and work through so much of the self-hatred and loathing and limitations and negativity and emotional disturbance and neurotic bullshit and fear and anger, and get to the point where I could sing to him. And that took 21 years.
I never knew that.
That's the way it is. So it was just part of a process, When he sent me back, he said, you have attachment there, you have to go. What are you talking about? What attachment? I didn't have a family, my mother and father, my sister, but I didn't have, children or anything. Nobody depended on me. But what he meant was I had seeds in my being that had to come out in order for me to be free of them and really get on with my work. And so to speak, that is my work, of course, but that part of my work was a different phase where I had to face all this negativity and horror and nervous breakdowns and all kinds of bullshit. Here we are.
High five. Well, you give so much to so many.
I appreciate that. But I get more than anybody from it, as far as I can tell. Well, I don't know about more, but I'm also getting, because I get to be deeper in his presence also when I chant. The rest of the day is just the rest of the day. I watch TV, I sit around a little bit, do a little breathing, a little exercise. When I sit down with people, boom, it gets, And that's the best thing I can do for me. So it's good.
Well, it was awesome to hear you articulate what that was like, because I've been curious about it for a while, just hearing you say like little things here and there,
Yeah.
And what is it like? I believe in God, I pray every day, I feel as, but it was, and I've heard you and other devotees say that like he would be talking to you, but like solving a famine or whatever, like I was curious about it,
You read any of the books about him?
No.
Miracle of Love. Read Miracle of Love.
Okay.
There's also a few other books, and they're listed on my website.
Okay.
Yeah, just read about him and see what it was like to be with him, and what it was like to live in that, with somebody who could heal the sick and raise the dead and knew everything you ever did or ever going to do, and could, all 24/7, 24, every day. Unbelievable.
I will read the book.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's a deal, and I expect a book report.
Oh.
Yeah.
Vandam Guru Padakanj Pasindhu Nararupa Hari Mahamotamapun Jasubachanara Vikaranaka Guru Rama Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Akanda Mandalakaram Yaptam Dena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Nuguroradikam Tattvam Nuguroradikam Tapaha Nuguroradikam Jnanam Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Dhyanamulam Guru Murti Puja Mulam Guru Padam Mantramulam Guru Vakyam Mokshamulam Guru Kripa Guru Madhyastita Mata Matrim Madhyastito Guru Guru Mata Namastestu Matri Guru Namamyaham Shri Guru Charanam Shri Hari Sharanam Shri Guru Charanam Shri Hari Sharanam Shri Guru Charanam Shri Hari Sharanam Shri Guru Sharanam Shri Hari Sharanam Shri Guru Charanam 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 Shri Hari Sharanam
Hi,
Hi,
good to see you.
I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you.
So my question is a broad topic. I know that people come here and address the anguish in the world and their personal pain they may be having.
When you say people come here, where? You mean here? To
Yes,
the diner?
here to the diner, here to this table with you.
Okay.
And
I didn't know that.
well, you asked some very hard questions.
That's,
But I was wondering instead if today you can talk about your personal love of beauty and what that wondrous thing is here on earth.
well, you know, my favorite thing, even back when Maharajji was in the body, you know, and people would be sitting around him, I'd stand on the side, kind of just behind him a lot, and I'd watch the faces of the people looking at him. And it was like flowers opening up. It was the most beautiful thing in the world. To see, like say some new guy would come and he'd be sitting there like this, you know. And then within 5 minutes he was like, and just watching that process of the people, the stuff falling off of people and then allowing themselves to open up into that love was so beautiful. It was really the most beautiful thing in all the world, really.
Well, so what you said is so lovely because I've been farming for the past 20 years, and that is how a lot of farmers are with that look of, because they're fighting the war of farming, right?
Yeah.
And it changed my life, farming. It actually opened up my eyes, just like you were describing, to the beauty of the world. And farming is very hard.
Yeah.
But I very quickly learned to love manure and love the smell of it and love the compost rotting and turning into something beautiful and actually hearing a caterpillar eat the leaf of one of my vines and the weeds growing and just the earth just kind of pushing them out and blooming. And so I think both of those experiences, the one that you talked about and the one that I talk about, is how do people learn that? To stop thinking that, manure smells bad, or that, coming and having to listen to someone talk is, they bring all this stuff with them.
You don't learn it. You don't learn it. You just, it's grace. Really, it's just grace. There's no, there's no button to push to make it happen. There's no way to understand why some people look for it, feel it, long for it, and why others don't have pay any attention. It's just grace. So simple.
But it's such a simple thing.
If it is,
You just want to open your hand and go, here's grace.
not for everybody.
I know.
A person has to be karmically ripe for that, Otherwise it can never happen. Not that it's not there in everybody, of course it is. Absolutely. But most people aren't paying any attention.
Yeah. My brother just imparted a beautiful thing to me. He wrote about karma, and he wrote about, unbeknownst to me, it was a surprise. I found it after his death. And he wrote about karma, and he wrote about how before we take a physical body, we talk to our guides, our spiritual guides. It's like a story he was telling. And we write a blueprint about what we want to work on in this next life. And that was sort of his karmic talk. And I thought the whole interesting part of it was this blueprint that maybe we compile right before we take the next life. And maybe I don't know. Do you think that?
I don't know. I don't know. I was born in Manhattan, so if I had written the blueprint, it would have been New Delhi or the Himalayas. So I'm not so sure about that. But who knows? I certainly I believe that everything that happens to us is karmically determined, and that everything in our lives is a result of our karmas, and that how we deal with what arises in our life has a lot to do with what's created in our futures, so to speak. That's about as much as I can You know, I can't say I even understand that, but that's my belief, is that there's no accidents. And the most important thing is how you meet every day and every new experience. You know, whether you meet it with an openness or whether you meet it with
Right.
fear or this or that. But the openness has to be open to dealing with whatever comes in the best way you can. And some people just close up and add more armor,
Right.
and that's the best they can do. So, you
Yeah,
know.
it's a viewpoint, right? I mean, I feel like I want to just go here and type in beauty and that song will play instead of
Unfortunately,
bad,
it's like this machine,
and that
it doesn't
song
really
will
work.
play, you know.
It's
But
a-
it's
this
your
is a
viewpoint,
prop.
right? I know that.
Yeah, I know, but that's my
But-
point.
Right.
There's no button to push.
Right.
You know, we don't know where we're from, we don't know where we're going, we don't know how we got here.
Mm-hmm.
If we do find some grace and some ability to care for ourselves in a very deep way and extend that to other people, that's a real blessing, that's a wonderful thing, but it's not everybody it doesn't arise in everybody.
Right.
Most people, live in too much fear of this or fear of that, or poverty and sickness and disease and suffering and political turmoil. I mean, there's
Right.
so much stuff that really prevents or would seem to prevent that kind of opening in people, although it's not true. People can open under any situation. So it's not like it can't happen, but it's just, so if we have, grace is called grace because there's no cause for it. They used to say about Maharajji, he had no cause to be kind, so to speak. He was kind, it was his nature.
Right.
Giving kindness, compassion was his nature. He didn't need a reason to be that way. Everything received that kindness through him, through these great beings.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's
What do you
really
grow
nice
out
to
there?
meet you too. I grow wine, so it's
Wine?
20 acres of wine grapes.
Wow.
Although I am going to be moving up to Maine within the next 6 months
Oh.
because I've decided that that type of farming is a little bit too intrusive.
What,
To the
wine,
earth?
Wine?
Just
Grapes?
a lot of agriculture in general. Even though
Mm-hmm.
I farmed mostly organically and biodynamically, which is working
Mm-hmm.
with the much more kinder subtleties of nature.
Sure.
But I feel like where I'm going in Maine, which is another plot of land that I have there, it's going to be more foraging.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not a lot of disturbing of nature.
Okay.
And I'll be growing some mushrooms and raising rabbits.
Okay.
And I think it's just a little bit, it's just less intrusive, and I think I'm ready to do that.
Cool. Beautiful.
So maybe I will find grace there also.
Maybe.
I'm going into the big unknown.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Saraswati Namaha Saraswati Namaha Saraswati 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 Namaha Saraswati Namaha Saraswati Namaha Saraswati 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 Namaha Saraswati 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 Saraswati, Saraswati, Saraswati.